that the brain has a reward system? If you did, would you like to know how the brain reward system works and how to leverage the brain for actions that drive you towards achieving your goals and dreams? If you're here, you're in the right place. My name is Stella Olivia Kikoyo. I'm the founder of Inspiring Women for Aspiring Women, which is iWorld Club. I'm strategic intervention life coach, a senior business lecturer, a CIM facilitator, and a chartered marketer. I'm going to talk to you about the reward system, and you'll be able to learn, if you didn't know, how to harness it so that you can move towards all your goals and achieving your dreams. This could be the key aspect, the catalyst, the mediator aspect that will bridge you from goal setting towards achieving the outcomes that you desire. You might have to ask, so what is this reward system? The reward system is a stimuli that drives appetite to alter behavior, either to introduce a new behavior, change a behavior, or actually continue with the behavior. The reward system is an important part of the brain that many of us do not utilize. And from today onwards, you'll be able to harness it to motivate yourself. And if you are a parent or a coach or a teacher, you can be able to utilize this knowledge to actually drive others into action. So human behavior is driven by two main aspects. One is necessity, that's food, water, sleep, or moving away or running away from pain, avoidance of pain. Or the other component could be reward. That is any object or activity like a party. But what we find is that most people are motivated by pleasure that comes from the reward. So what we're going to see is rewards acting as reinforcers. So you're going to continue to ask, but how does then the brain value this thing called a reward? And how does it drive us into action? And that's a good question. So there are neurons in the brain, different parts of the brain, and these neurons communicate using dopamine. So I'm going to talk through first these components that are found within the brain. There's the stratum, which is one of the regions that coordinates key aspects like action planning. It does decision making. It does reward perception. It is in charge of motivation, and it's also in charge of reinforcements. There's another area called the ventotegmental area, which is the VTA, and the nuclear accumbens areas. These two areas are dopamine producing areas. There's another area called the amygdala, which is concerned with emotional processing. And then we have the hippocampus, which is an area that is concerned with learning and memories. And then we have another area, which is the prefrontal cortex, which is in charge of planning, reasoning, and emotional processing as well. But these areas all communicate in nanoseconds. So the communication is fast. But then you will ask, what is this thing called dopamine? So dopamine is a neurotransmitter chemical in the brain. It is released every time the brain expects a reward. Now listen to that. Remember, there's movement, and this movement happens every time dopamine signaling is met. So every time a reward is expected, dopamine is released. So the dopamine producing areas like the ventral tegmental area communicate with the nuclear accumbens area to evaluate the reward and then motivate us into action. So once the reward is achieved, is seen or expected, signaling happens. Dopamine enhances reward-related memories, and then it strengthens our learning and memories in the hippocampus. It also signals the emotional processing center, which is the amygdala, and then communicates and signals with the prefrontal cortex that is in charge of planning, memories, and emotional processing. And all of them all together continue to emphasize the pleasure that is coming from a particular reward. So in that way, the reward becomes as a reinforcer of a behavior. So what is important for you to note in this whole process is that it's not the reward that is important, it is the expectation from the reward. The more expectation you have from a reward, the more dopamine is released. The less expectation from the reward, the less dopamine is released. So if you're going to find yourself into action, you need to associate with a reward that has high expectation so that more dopamine is released. So it's not the cake, it's not the tea, it's not the bicycle, it's not the toy. It's the expectation that one has from a particular reward. And we can see different people will have different expectations. So this is really key in allowing you to associate a reward with an action. We are always associating rewards with actions, but we need to evaluate our expectation of the pleasure from that reward. Sometimes I found myself putting a spa, but it wasn't bringing out any kind of excitement in me. In that way, it's a spa and it could be exciting another person, but it might not be exciting me. And that means even if I associate it with an action, I might not take that action because it's not signaling pleasure and no dopamine is released, and that means no action. I'm not being motivated. I'm not motivating myself into action. If you would like to know more of such information and how the reward system works, please subscribe so that you don't miss any of our videos to come, or actually do email us or visit us to know more about how we work and how you can actually benefit from understanding yourself, understanding the reward system, and moving yourself into actions that you desire. I'll see you soon. So thank you for being here with us. Goodbye.